I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And today we're going to be talking about the history of entrance music in pro wrestling. Now, we kind of went over this a little bit when I talked about Jim Johnston, but we're going to go all the way back to the 1930s with the guy who did it first. Now, Gorgeous George is normally the guy who's credited for doing it first in the 1940s. But in fact, it started in the 1930s with this guy who played a foppish British aristocrat with a fawning valet named Lord Patrick Lansdowne, who, when he appeared at bigger arenas, would have live band play God Save the King. He, of course, was a heel, and that would instantly get him heat with the crowd. And of course, many wrestlers later have ripped him off. Now, then the first female to do it was Mildred Burke. I could not find what entrance music she played because this is a topic that not a lot of people have went into. But she started in the 1950s using entrance music. But she did hold an NWA women's title for over 20 years and was a big influence in women's wrestling. Now, of course, then we have Gorgeous George, who was a big, huge, popular wrestler in the 40s and 50s. Actually, probably one of the biggest wrestling names in the 40s and 50s as heel, who used pomp and circumstance as his entrance music when many other people weren't using entrance music, which would later be Macho Man's WWF theme and is the theme you hear every graduation to this very day. He is credited oftentimes as the first, but as we know, he was not the first. Later on, it was really Memphis Wrestling who was the first American wrestling organization to adopt entrance music and theme music into their organization, thanks to Jerry Lawler, who used Bad Bad Leroy Brown as music for a feud for the NWA title, which he never won. Now, the first wrestling organization to use music for all its wrestlers was an Argentinian wrestling organization whose name I don't remember and which I'd probably slaughter, so it's probably best I don't remember it, who also released it on an album which sold probably quite a few albums in Argentina. Or is it Argentine? I don't remember. Now, as I said, Memphis was one of the first to use entrance music. A wrestler called Bad Bad Leroy Brown used the song Bad Bad Leroy Brown as his entrance music. Another wrestler to use entrance music was the Junkyard Dog, who was an early wrestler to adopt entrance music, along with Jimmy Valiant, who was an early wrestler to adopt entrance music, and Fabulous Freebirds, who was the first wrestler to adopt original entrance music in Bad Street, USA. In the WWF, the first wrestler to use entrance music was Sergeant Slaughter, who talked Vincent J. McMahon into using the Marine Hymn as his entrance music for a Madison Square Garden show. But as I said in the Jim Johnston video, it really wasn't till the 1980s that entrance music took off. Hulk Hogan's original entrance music was Eye of the Tiger, but then it became Real American. And during the rock and wrestling era, entrance music really took off and became more rock songs due to the rock and roll influence in wrestling. And after that, just about everyone had infantry music. Jim Johnston was one of the biggest names in entrance music. Surprisingly, Jimmy Hart did quite a few entrance themes for wrestlers. ECW was known for licensing entrance music, popular songs for entrance music, and that is one of the things that made them so popular. I'm trying to think because I read a lot on it, and I don't remember it all. There have been numerous albums of entrance music come out over the years that have sold from barely to a lot. Now WWE doesn't use Jim Johnston anymore. He was fired. They use CFO, and I think all their entrance music sounds the same. AEW has licensed various songs as entrance music, but they also have a in-house guy by the name of Mickey Ruckus or Mikey Ruckus. I don't remember his first name, who does their entrance music. And as I said, it went from something that only a few heels mainly had to something that now everyone has. Except with some people who they skip their entrance. But they, I'm sure, have entrance music. It became an integral part of wrestling is the theme music, and even some shows have theme music. Even shows have theme music. Pay-per-views have theme music. Various feuds have theme music. I mean, SummerSlam 98's theme music was the popular song Highway to Hell by AC/DC. So it went from something that mainly heels had in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s to something that is just so ingrained with the product that if you took it away, it'd be like taking a, a big chunk of wrestling away. So that is pretty much the history of entrance music. Join me next week. I was going to talk about, I don't remember what I was going to talk about. So I'll see you Wednesday or Thursday for the review. We're doing Shark Shock. It's a movie about an electric shark.